Tony and I flipped a coin to see who was going to roast Ed. And he won. But I got the kind of sentimental maudlin piece to impart.
Use the microphone. Yeah.
Can't hear?
Just take the microphone out.
Do I start over, Bob?
No.
So anyway, I got some background music to accompany my sentimental words. Would you hit the Old Man River, please? Tony? No? I guess we don't have it. Anyway, Ed, your retirement leaves me somewhat breathless and in expectation. I've known and admired you for so long as a musical performer, teacher, friend, and life's mentor, that my vision of the future at 4th Street is somewhat clouded and mist in expectation now. Handel's Messiah has long been a bulwark for me, for my wife Kate, and our children against the changing and sometimes harsh times in our lives. Your direction of this monumental work introduced us to 4th Street, first as listeners, then as participants, and ultimately cemented our relationship with the great body of souls that have made up this congregation. Church staff and chorale membership for over 30 plus years. You have not only great musical gifts, but great humanitarian gifts as well. I know a few others who have been such optimistic encouragers in the lives of so many. I have lots of memories, but I'll just share a couple because the good Reverend is going to turn the mic off if I keep up here too long. Number one, the most recent is the elderly lady whose thin, sweet voice I heard over the telephone while taking ticket orders for the past Messiah concert. She ordered 24 tickets that she would give to 23 of her friends and would accompany her to the Sunday performance. After the concert, she said that these 23 friends would be her guests at her house for dinner. And this was the 30th consecutive year in which she had made this annual Christmas gift.
Wow.
Number two, in the first few years of my attendance at Messiah, I would volunteer as an usher. The house was packed with upwards of 900 to 1,000 people in the early 19... Where's Freud around here somewhere? In the 1980s. So the job required a large shoehorn and a strong will to cram folks into the pews and folding chairs that we set up in the aisles of the balcony. Apparently, there were no representatives of the fire department present to object, or else they were so entranced by the performance that they turned a blind eye. In any case, it was an usher's prerogative to find a standing place in the balcony to listen to the concert after all guests had been seated. There were always latecomers, but in those days, they were held in the narthex until the overture ended. Thereafter, no one was allowed to be seated during a solo or recitative. Did I get that right? My fond memory is that of sitting on the steps in the lower balcony alongside Reverend Bob Crilly and drinking in the sight and sound of soaring beauty. Number three. Also in these days, the will call agent and safeguard of the purse was Steve Manos. His wife is here with us tonight. Unfortunately, Steve is not. But he was there every year, and Steve always stayed in the church office during all but one moment. He would come into the sanctuary to listen to Imogene Bird's soprano solo, How Beautiful Are the Feet, his favorite song in the oratorio, and one which we all heard during worship service today, so beautifully sung by Rebecca. Finally, Ed, I aver that my debt to you is invaluable. I love you, and will sorely miss seeing you leap onto the rehearsal stage, beating the rhythm on the music stand with your pencil, chastising the altos, and waving your baton in fluid geometric strokes on the conductor's podium. May God continue to bless you and your good wife Amanda for many years to come. Thank you.